Love isn't an emotion, it's your natural state. Hey guys, it's John sitting here in the studio drinking my fabulous mug of coffee. You don't need to find love, you just need to stop forgetting who you are. You know, I had a woman come to me one time, she says, John, I want you to help me find my soulmate. I said, that's easy. She says, what do you mean it's easy? I've been trying for years, how's that easy? I said, if you do what I tell you, you'll find someone who loves you unconditionally because that's what you're really looking for. A soulmate is someone who loves you for who you are. You look at you and they say, I like that person who they are. I said, so if you do what I tell you, you will find someone who will love you unconditionally. She says, oh, what do I do? What do I do? I say, first of all, stop looking. Because no one can love you for you if all they can see is your need. You have to be the person that is going to be loved for someone to see the person that they will love and love them. That's number one. I said, number two, I said, what do you love doing? You yourself, what is the thing that you love to do? In her case, she said, I love nature. I love hiking. I love biking. I love gardening. Anything outside with my hands in the dirt, that is my jam. That's what I'm doing. I said, okay, join a hiking club, a biking club, or a gardening club, or all three, but you're not allowed to look for anybody while you're there. And she said, okay. She was married in a year and a half. Because the person who could love her for her saw her when she started being her authentic self. When she stopped forgetting who she was and living out her need and her want and her hopes, but being firmly herself, the people who would love her for her saw her and loved her and came into her experience. You know, we've confused love with butterflies and heartbreak and Hallmark cards, but those are emotions. Real love doesn't come and go. It simply is. Love as a presence, being in the now, being yourself fully, completely. Love is an energetic foundation of your being. You are naturally a loving person. When you exhale, you're shutting off the fear response and you're feeling that good feeling, which is love itself. You know, before the fear, before the labels, before the stories, there was just you. And you were love. And you are love. Because all the rest of it is the illusion of love's absence, but love is always there. It's always within you. You're part of God, and God is love. So God is always with you. I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Right? God is with you. Oneness of God is with you. You're in the oneness of God. There is no duality between you and God. You are the infinite self. And the rest of this that makes us feel fearful or afraid or lacking love is just a present moment choice. It's just a present moment choice. And in that present moment choice, you can create something beautiful. Before the stories, there was just you and you were love. Newborn babies live in reaction to stimulus of the world. And that stimulus of the world becomes their belief. But before that, they're just in awe and wonder. And they're like, oh, what is this? This is crazy, right? They don't have a belief. You must become as a child to enter the kingdom of heaven. You know, why do we forget? You know, when I had my first regression, I experienced Johannes ben Zebedee, John of old, literally experienced the purity of love. When Jeshua touched his heart, he crossed over. He left the physical illusion. It was coming back to the physical illusion that was the next most important thing, was feeling all my fears, my anxieties, and stresses so that I could know the feeling of the purity of love because I now had the baseline of its absence to measure it against. But I also knew that my job was to bring the kingdom of heaven to earth, to bring that love to here by releasing my fears and anxieties and coming back to my fearless state. And now, a quick word from our sponsor. Coffee Time with John. This channel runs off coffee, so get your coffee and tea at johnsjoe.com. When you choose to release the need to react and choose to act in love, be an action hero, not a reaction zero, it literally is teaching you love. But that idea of releasing those fears and the anxieties of the world, the trauma, the rejection, the religious distortions of love into something external, start grabbing a hold of them and realizing, what Yoda says, named must your fears be before banish them you can. The concept of naming it's important because when you look at it from the concept of, oh, it's just fear, it no longer is something that you're in. It's now something in front of you and external. And that's how you release it. You first limit it to it being an external object rather than being something that is part of your core. Release the concept of fear and anxiety and say, oh, and recognize it as just fear. Name must your fears be. So name it. Oh, it's just fear. I'm letting that go. Love can never go away, but fear can mask its view. It's covered by fear. But we're the ones, it's like living in that room that's made of love and everything's pure love and you're pure love, but there's a fog that doesn't let you see the love within or the love without. And this fog is just thick and it's like, oh, and you start to get the furrowed brow and you get angry and you get worried and you're afraid, all this stuff. Then you look down and you realize your hand is on the knob of the fog machine. Turn it down. Turn your fear down. Recognize that the fog is an external that you have control over. Turn it down. That's how you return to love. The love it's not a return to love. It's a clearing away the thing that shows the love that's always there. I am love is probably the most beautiful thing you can say. People ask me what my religion is. I say, I am John and I am love. That's my answer. I don't have doctrines, dogmas, because those are all fear-based. When someone triggers you, ask yourself, what would love do now? And the way you find out what love would do now is you exhale. You come back to that still place within. That's that in itself. That moment when someone says something harsh and you exhale, that's micro meditation, my friends. That's you coming back to the state of the love within you. People meditate to get peaceful, but the reality of it is meditation is not to get peaceful. It's to unveil the things that aren't. To put the stimulus of the world aside and be the simple love that's always there. And when you act from love, you're returning to who you truly are. You're returning to yourself. You're coming back to that space within yourself that is the love, that is the presence of God in the now, that is bringing the kingdom of heaven to earth. You're not seeking love. You're seeking permission to be who you are. And you don't need permission from anybody. You are the one who gets to choose and do. The search is over. The home is within. Be love to the next person you see without needing it in return. And live that love into your own life. Love yourself enough to do something for yourself as well. I love working on my vehicles or having a new project to work on. Now, that's why I do the things I do. My Jeep is ridiculously built up. Well, I'm looking at my truck now. I'm going, I like that truck. I would do this. And I just start tweaking the things that I want to do, right? At some point, I'll probably sell off my Jeep because it's time to move on to a new project. But, I love my Jeep right now. So I don't know when that's going to happen. Might happen soon, though, because it's been coming into my reality. And releasing the attachment to that Jeep just allows me to expand into a new direction, a new place of being. And that's important, to come to that new place of being. I can create something new, right? And that's the end. Release attachment to old stories, release attachment to fear, and live into understanding that you need nothing. And you can be love right here, right now, and love will surround your experience because that's who you are. In other words, I am that I am. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See you.